Hello, people of God. This is Sharon Hannah, and welcome to Time with Jesus, where we seek His presence, His wisdom, and His guidance together. Dear Father, I ask that you lead this message to the hearts that need your comfort and guidance today. People of God, when life doesn't make sense and everything seems to fall apart, it's natural to wonder why God allows such things to happen and how we're supposed to respond. And for this, Scripture offers us profound insights, pointing us toward trust and faith even when we don't have all the answers. In John chapter 13 verse 7, Jesus said to Peter, "You do not realize now what I'm doing, but later you will understand." This, people of God, is a reminder that God's work in our life often goes beyond our immediate comprehension. We may not always understand why things are happening, but we are called to trust that His plan is for our ultimate good. Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 6 reinforces this. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. People of God, we are invited to rely on God's wisdom, not on our own limited understanding, knowing that His ways are higher than ours. My dear friends, there will be times when life feels like it's spiraling out of control. But that is when faith becomes most crucial. Faith is not merely believing when things make sense, it's trusting when they don't. It's easy to believe when everything is going well, but true faith shines in darkness, in the uncertainties, and in the trials. Just because things don't make sense now doesn't mean they won't make sense later. As we often sing in the hymn, we'll understand it better by and by. There is coming a day when God will make everything clear and right. God doesn't require a full understanding before He moves. He asks for our obedience and trust. Sometimes we miss out on God's blessing because we hesitate, waiting for everything to make sense before we act. But God says, "Trust me and follow me." When Jesus tells us, "I am the way," He reminds us that we don't need to see the entire path, for He is our path. Trusting Him means we walk in faith, even when we don't know where the journey will lead. We often try to make sense of everything, don't we? Analyzing every situation and seeking explanations. But life, much like God, is complex. We are finite beings with limited understanding, and sometimes the best response is to surrender and acknowledge that we simply don't know. But we do know God. We know His character, that He is good, faithful, just, and merciful. Psalm 100 verse 5 tells us, "The Lord is good, His mercy is everlasting, and His truth endures to all generations." Holding on to this truth gives us peace even when life doesn't make sense. People of God, it's essential to remember that God's plans are bigger than what we can see. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 17 reminds us that no one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. Even if a wise man claims he knows, he cannot really comprehend it. God alone sees the entire picture, and we must trust Him with what we can't yet understand. When unfair or painful situations arise, it's easy to become bitter or resentful. But bitterness only poisons our spirit and keeps us stuck. We are called to make a conscious decision to trust God, believing that He is in control and working things for our good, even in the most difficult circumstances. This doesn't mean we can't express our pain and confusion to God. Like many of the Psalms, we can cry out to God with our frustrations. He is big enough to handle our emotions. Ultimately, faith is about trusting God's heart when we can't trace His hand. It's about believing that He is working all things together for good, and that His purpose are far greater than we can currently see or understand. Life will bring its share of trials and disappointments, but faith means holding on to God's promises and trusting in His timing. Even when it doesn't make sense now, we know that God's ways are always perfect, and one day we will see how He was working all along. So, people of God, when life doesn't make sense, remember to trust and obey God. Keep walking in faith, knowing that God's ways are higher and that He is leading you to something far more beautiful than you could ever imagine. Hold on to Him and never give up, for He is always with you. even in the midst of your greatest confusion and pain. If this message touched your heart, I pray that you'll share it with someone who could use this encouragement right now. I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message. Your support helps us reach more people. Thanks for being here, and God bless you.